The outpost on Velis 4 wasn't meant to be a place of comfort. It was a frontier base carved into red stone and frost, a lonely between the edge of human space and the warring sectors of the Orion Rift. I'd been stationed there for 3 months, a mechanic and ex-pilot now babysitting alien machines that barely worked and soldiers that barely spoke. Most of them were Threxians, tall, armored, reptilian humanoids with golden eyes and the kind of military discipline that could make statues nervous. They were our allies, though that term was still being defined in interspecies treaties. We worked side by side after the Rift Wars ended, patching up mechs, sharing supplies, and trying not to accidentally insult each other's culture. And among them was Commander Vrynet Cell, the scariest, most beautiful alien I'd ever seen. Her armor shimmered like polished obsidian and gold, segmented with scales that flexed as she moved. When she walked into the hangar, every Threxian soldier straightened, and every human mechanic stopped breathing. Except me, apparently, because I was stupid enough to talk to her. It started one night after a long maintenance shift. The outpost's power grid had fried again, and I was elbow-deep in a generator while Vryna stood nearby, watching my every move with that unreadable expression of hers. I could feel her gaze even through her visor. "Doesn't your species ever rest?" I muttered, trying to break the silence. Her head tilted slightly. "Threxian warriors do not rest until the task is complete." I chuckled, wiping sweat from my face. "Yeah, I can tell. You're impressive." She didn't answer, so I made the mistake of continuing. "I mean, that armor looks incredible on you. You pull it off better than anyone else here." Silence. Then she turned her head, visor catching the light. "You find my armor aesthetically pleasing?" Oh no. I'd accidentally complimented a Threxian commander, and I had no idea how their culture handled flirting. Yeah, I stammered. "It's, very shiny?" She said nothing, but her tail flicked once, a gesture I'd seen only when Threxians were irritated or intrigued. I couldn't tell which. When I finished the generator repairs, she was still watching me. And then, to my surprise, she said softly, "Human, I appreciate your observation." Her voice was calm, but there was something strange in it, a subtle warmth I hadn't heard before. I smiled awkwardly and tried to focus on packing my tools. I didn't think much of it after that. But that was before the incident in the armory. The misunderstanding. 2 days later, the base was preparing for a supply inspection. The Threxians were paranoid about appearances. Every piece of armor had to be spotless, every weapon polished. I was assigned to help inspect human-engineered exosets the Threxians had integrated into their gear. That's when Commander Vryna walked in again. She was alone this time. No soldiers, no entourage. Her armor glistened under the lights, and I swear the room temperature dropped when she looked at me. "Mechanic Daniel Cole," she said, using my full name. "I require your assistance." "With what, Commander?" I asked, trying not to sound nervous. "My combat armor sustained damage during training. I wish to have it digested." I nodded quickly. "Sure. Place it on the table, and I'll." But she didn't move toward the table. Instead, she reached up and began unsealing the clasps of her chest plate. Wait, what are you doing?" I yelped, nearly dropping my toolkit. "You said my armor looked pleasing," she said, expression calm. Threxian tradition dictates that when an ally admires one's battle form, one may honor them by allowing them to see the armor as it truly is, unburdened by concealment. My brain short-circuited. "Unburdened by, Commander. That's not what I meant." She paused, clearly confused. "You do not wish to see?" It's not that. It's just, in human culture, complimenting someone's armor doesn't mean." Her eyes narrowed. "You are retracting your compliment?" What?
No.
The compliment still stands. So you do wish to see. Commander, please, this is a misunderstanding. But it was too late. The Threxian armor unfolded and detached like a living shell, piece by piece revealing smooth, scaled skin of deep violet beneath. My brain screamed to look away, but curiosity and sheer terror kept me frozen. Her form was breathtaking. Not human, not alien, but something both fierce and elegant. The bioluminescent lines that traced her skin pulsed with a heartbeat rhythm, glowing faintly in the dim light. She looked at me with an almost teasing expression. Is this not what you desired when you spoke your admiration? Commander, I just like fixing machines. I blurted. It's a mechanic thing. A low rumble, a laugh, escaped her. Your species is strange. You praise what you do not wish to see. I covered my face, mortified. I'm sorry, okay? It was a compliment, not an invitation. Ah, she said softly, seeming to realize something. A human compliment is the verbal appreciation without ceremonial meaning. Yes. I nodded rapidly. Exactly. She regarded me for a moment, then reattached her armor with fluid precision. Then you may disregard my response. I misunderstood. I sighed in relief. Good.
Great.
Misunderstanding cleared up. But before she turned to leave, she added, almost playfully. However, it was not an unpleasant misunderstanding. And then she was gone, leaving me red-faced, flustered, and very confused. Middle, Part 2, The Aftermath. The incident spread through the base faster than a power surge. Within a day, every human and Threxian was whispering about how the human mechanic made Commander Vrina undress. I couldn't walk into the mess hall without someone snickering. Vrina herself avoided me, until one night when I found her in the observation deck, looking out at the stars. Commander, I said cautiously. She turned her head slightly. Mechanic. I hesitated before stepping closer. About the other day. She sighed, her voice softer. You need not apologize again. I have already reviewed the cultural misunderstanding. I was overly literal. I smiled awkwardly. Hey, happens to the best of us. I've accidentally insulted 3 alien species just by offering handshakes. That earned a small smirk from her, a Threxian's equivalent of laughter. We stood in silence for a while, the hum of the outpost filling the background. You are unlike most humans, she said finally. I get that a lot. No, she said more firmly. Most humans fear us. You do not. I shrugged. I guess I just see people. Scales, skin, or circuits. Doesn't matter much when you're fixing broken things together. She looked at me for a long moment, her golden eyes catching the starlight. Perhaps that is why I misunderstood you. You speak freely as if I were not different. Maybe because I don't think you are, I said quietly. Different, I mean. Her expression softened, and for the first time, I saw something behind the warrior facade. Something vulnerable. Then perhaps, she said slowly, you may teach me more of your strange human customs, so that I may avoid further embarrassment. I chuckled.
Deal.
But for the record, if a human compliments your armor, just say thank you. Thank you, she said seriously. No, I mean, oh, never mind. Ending the lesson in trust. Weeks passed, and the strange friendship between a human mechanic and a Threxian commander became the talk of the outpost. We worked together more often, repairing battle suits, upgrading energy systems, even sparring once I lost badly. But something had changed between us. She'd begun asking questions, small ones at first, about human habits, gestures, jokes. Then deeper ones. Why do humans risk themselves for others? Why do you smile when you are sad? Why do you fear being alone? I answered as best I could, realizing that for all her strength, Vrina had spent her life behind armor, literal and emotional. Her people had fought for centuries, and vulnerability was a concept they'd buried under layers of discipline. Then came the night of the meteor strike. A debris storm hit Velisfor unexpectedly, ripping through the upper hangars. The shields failed, and several soldiers were trapped inside the blast zone, including Vrina. I was in the control bay when I saw the explosion on the monitors. Without thinking, I grabbed my exosuit and ran. The corridors were chaos, smoke, alarms, debris everywhere. I reached the hangar to find Vrina pinned under a collapsed beam, armor sparking and flickering. Her breathing was ragged. "Vrina!" I shouted, rushing to her side. Her eyes flickered open. "You should not be here, human." "Yeah, well, I'm bad at following orders," I said, straining to lift the beam. My suit servos whined, but it wouldn't budge. "You will die if you stay." "Then we'll die together," I grunted. "But I'm not leaving you." Something in her expression broke, a wall crumbling. She reached out and gripped my arm weakly.
Why?
"Why would you risk?" "Because I meant what I said," I panted. "You're more than your armor, Vrina." Her eyes widened slightly, then she pressed her hand against the release panel on her chest. The armor disengaged, collapsing away and freeing her. I dragged her out just as the ceiling came down behind us. We stumbled into the corridor, gasping for air. She looked down at herself, armorless, vulnerable, and then at me. "You saved me," she whispered, "even when I made myself a fool before you." I smiled. "You weren't a fool. You were brave enough to trust me." Her golden eyes softened. "Then perhaps this time, I will offer thanks the human way." And before I could ask what that meant, she leaned forward and rested her forehead gently against mine, the Threxian gesture of deep respect and trust. When rescue crews arrived, she refused to be treated until I was cleared first. The story of what happened spread again, but this time, nobody laughed. After that day, she and I became something more than friends or allies. We were proof that trust could form between species once sworn enemies, that a misunderstanding could turn into something genuine. And sometimes, when she caught me staring at her newly repaired armor, she'd smile just a little and say, "Careful, human. Compliments from you have consequences." I'd grin back and reply, "Yeah, but I think I'm okay with those."